Hello guys, so I'm going to show you today on how to navigate around the Livezilla. So I'm going to show you the different icons and the things that will be important to you when you are accessing the Livezilla and taking a chat, and as well as how to make a ticket when you are chatting, a lot of other important things that will be useful to you when you are ready to take a chat. So I'm going to start off with navigating around the dashboard that when you very first enter. So up here we have some icons. None of these are currently important because they don't have anything that really pertain to us. Some may pay attention to this right here because you might want to change the language of your dashboard if you speak a language that is not English as your first language. We can help you with that if you wanted to do that. So just send us a message and we will gladly change that for you so it's easier for you to read. And then you have these icons down here on the side. Out of all of these, the most important ones are going to be over here, which is the chats, and then over here, which is the tickets. Today we're going to be talking about the chats though. So I'm going to go ahead and click right here and bring up the chats board. So we have 3 different categories: queue, waiting, and active. There's almost nothing ever in queue, so don't worry about that. There's usually chats in active and waiting, and in waiting is where the chats are where you will be taking. We also have the active chats down here, and I will navigate you through all of them and show you a little bit about what they do. Like for example, over here we'll show you where they are from. If they show a flag like this, which stands for Brazilian chats, we don't want to take those because those are with the Brazilian team. Over here, we have the time that they are waiting. This is especially important when it is actually in the waiting queue. If they are in the green, oh perfect, some just came up. If they are in the green, then that means that they are still good and chances are that they are brand new. So we want to try to keep these chats in the green because that means they were waiting for the least amount of time. We have some chats that are in the yellow over here, which means that they've been waiting for a medium amount of time. So they haven't been sitting there forever, but we try to not want them to go into yellow like these are right here. We want to try to keep them in green. And then of course we have some in red, which have been waiting the longest amount of time, which is something we definitely want to try to avoid. And then we have the status over here and the chat ID. The chat ID is important, and it's going to be one of the things they're going to be putting in your sheet to keep track of what the chats were when you take them, so that we have, like if we have any questions or we need to refer back to your chat, we can type this in and go exactly to that chat, or we can find it if you may have any questions while you are in an active chat, because this is what we will see. And chances are when you enter it's going to be in a different screen, which I will show in a little bit because I'm going to initiate a live chat so that we can see what it looks like from the chat panel. And then over here we have the question, which gives a little bit of a preview of what it will look like. So if we actually hover over the middle right here, we see that the question opens up and it will show the entire question. So if you wanted to see what the question was like but didn't want to click on it yet, you can always hover over the top of it and then enlarge that question to see what it is. And then over here, we see who the operator is. Now over here, there's only one operator and it's still in waiting though. So that chances are that person is assigned but has not taken it yet. But as you can see, this is a Brazilian chat, so nobody would be taking this one. But however, if for some reason there was only one operator name and it was anything but a Brazilian chat and it was still waiting, you can go ahead and take that one because sometimes the system assigns it to a particular operator, but they haven't actually taken it yet. Because if they did have it, it would be showing inactive like the rest of this. So now I will go ahead and make a test chat where we can go ahead and start this.
Honestly, doing this specific stuff, I have only a couple months, but
Bueno,
okay.
por favor, ¿de qué está bien?
I was only answering emails and disputes before.
Y veo, ve en la
That's kind of
documentación,
new.
y voy borrándole todo mierda hasta que llegues
I
a
can
la parte
find
que nomás te quedas con la forma.
I think I'm gonna send because it's safe. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You can have it.
So I'm going to go ahead and start the chat. And then we're going to see it pop up here in the actives. All right, here we go. So to take a chat, we're just going to go ahead and double click it, take the chat. And then it's going to show up right here in red, signifying that it belongs to us. And then we're also going to get a notification up here.
I appreciate it.
So I had already started one prior. So it's going to show us 3 different options. We're going to have start chat, decline, or forward. As we can see here, we have a history of the time span the previous chat took, the website I was last on when I started the chat, and also the title of that website, as well as the URL I was on previously. And then if we go over here, this is very useful if anybody is having a particular issue that can't be replicated. It might be their browser, and we can see which browser I'm using, which is a Mac, or not a Mac, Chrome. And then we can also see I'm using a Mac computer. And then it includes a lot of other information as well. But this is the information that's really important for troubleshooting right over here. And if you've accidentally taken a chat from somebody else, which can happen if 2 people click on it at the same time, you can always forward it to that person by clicking forward. And then you'll be able to scroll and choose the operator and forward that to them. So we're going to go ahead and start the chat, which will give an auto message like this, which we can go ahead and send. And then of course it'll pop up on the other end. And then we also have these other options right down here. So in the chat, both of you have the ability to send documentation directly through the application. So like for example, you can just put and upload directly a image or anything of that type, and the client can do the same thing as well on their end. So let me just go ahead and open that up. And you can see they can enter anything right there, so they don't have to worry about using anything like ImageBB, which I will go over as well for when we go to the tickets tutorial. But we have over here a knowledge database, but there's something really interesting that you can do that will make it really easy to make it pop up. Like say for example somebody is having a problem with mobile view. So if you just type in mobile, we will see these little blue things pop up in the middle right there, and it'll have a bunch of different things related to what I just typed in. So actually this is the one that we won't want to use in that case. And then you see if we click on it, it'll automatically input that message into the chat, and then we can send it to that person. Now what if we wanted to make a ticket out of this? Over here we have an actions, and of course when you are talking to the client you would want to tell them and notify them that you're going to be making a ticket for whatever reason. But whenever you are done, you can go ahead and create the ticket. Another thing you can do as well, if they have already left, and I'll show you how to do that from this end. I'm going to go ahead and leave the chat. Let's give it a couple minutes to upload. Then create ticket will be there automatically. So then in that case we can just create a ticket and it'll pop up this window right here, and it'll have the entire conversation that we had. Usually what I like to do if I have a chat and I'm turning it into a ticket, if there's some information that's not important or necessary, to delete that because it would just take up a lot of room in the ticket. But if there is some important information between the chats, you can leave that in the ticket when you create it. And usually when you will make a ticket, you would be assigning it to somebody in particular. So you would leave the source right here, but you would also go ahead and assign it to your supervisor or to whoever you need to assign it to, which would be the editor. So you'll go through here and you will see a list of names that you can go through and assign to that person. And once you do that, you'd be able to just say okay and be able to assign it to that person. So I'm going to assign it to myself in this case. And we want to make sure that we put it in progress so that way it appears right in my tickets. Because if we put it up here in open, then it's not necessarily in progress and it's still technically out there for everybody to have. There's also pending, which we don't want to worry about. And we definitely don't want to be clicking closed or deleted. So we're going to be putting it in progress. And click OK. And then if we go over here to the tickets, we can see over here is where my ticket is at. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this chat and then I'm going to give you a demonstration about the tickets.